Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yatharth Kelkar, a coder, web developer, and tech enthusiast. Here on this channel, you'll find everything about coding, open source projects, Linux, web development, and much more. Today, I'm going to teach you how to use CSS and integrate it into your HTML web page and make your web page look much more elegant for the users. So let's get started. So firstly, you open your favorite coding app. For me, it is Visual Studio Code, and I have already opened it onto my screen. And click on New File. I have created a new file which is named as button css.html. You can use the same name and you can open it. Once you open it, first thing you will have to do is create a button tag, and then inside the button tag in capital letters type subscribe. Save the document, and if you want you can run it. So I am running it to show you the difference between the original subscribe button, which is the YouTube subscribe button, and that's what you have to do after seeing this video to my channel, by the way, and the subscribe button, which is just the plain and blank one, which you'll get once you just type the subscribe inside the button tag without any CSS properties. So look at this button. This is just a plain, simple, and the color slightly changes once you hover onto it, but otherwise nothing much. Right? So I'm going to teach you how to make it look much more elegant. So firstly, you will have to push this button tag onto the new line, and go onto the first line and type the style tags. Perfect. Once you type the style tags, you can type your CSS coding inside them. So now, why do we have to type the style tag? So basically, you have to tell the computer that this part of the project is going to be of CSS, and this part is going to be of HTML. All right. So this is why we type the style tag. But there is another way to integrate CSS into your project. I'm not going to teach you the way in this video. Maybe I'll create a separate video if there is some demand for it. But that way is creating a separate CSS file and then importing it onto your HTML file with few couple of lines of coding. No worries about that. And the format is just going to be .css. Make sure if you're using VS Code, you have the packages installed. So let us get started with today's CSS properties. So I'll just quickly type up all the CSS properties to make the subscribe button look like the real YouTube subscribe button. And then I will also explain a few features, and I'll again explain the what is each CSS property doing to make the subscribe button look real and much better. Alright, so I have typed it. I'll just save the document. Yep. Now, like I was telling, one or two features. Now, that feature which I wanted to really explain it to you is this dot subscribe dash button. Now, let me tell why I have typed this. So, this dot subscribe dash button helps the computer identify which button we are targeting. Now, see, for example, sorry, excuse me, if there are two buttons, the like button and the subscribe button, and we want the like button to be of blue color and the subscribe button of to be of red color, and we just type the CSS properties of the subscribe button, thinking that only the subscribe button will be affected by it. No, that's not the case really. The real thing is that both the buttons will have the exact same properties. But if you want to avoid this and make your subscribe button look like a subscribe button and a like button to look different and look like a real like button, and of course, don't forget you have to do that to my video as well after watching this, you will have to use this dot and then the class name. Now, let me tell you what the class name is. So basically, a class name tells the computer that this is a particular class. Like we are like telling the computer that this particular tag has this class. So later on in CSS, you can just go and type the class name. So I have not yet typed the class name in the button thing, but the class name has to be the same as it is over here. So what you have to do is first you have to type the class. Sorry, class, then you have to type the equal to sign, and then you have to type double quotes, and in double quotes you will have to type this text, this little text. But make sure that you don't copy the dot with it, otherwise it will become you will have to type dot subscribe dash button, because this dot just tells the computer that this part is for this particular button. And don't forget when you are also typing that in in your CSS styling page. Now first let's save this and then run it. Okay, now you can see that the subscribe button really looks like a proper subscribe button. Now let me explain each CSS property I used to make this subscribe button look this good. So the first CSS property, which is the background dash color colon, semicolon, and then the red is kind of like the most self-explanatory property. Like this just gives the background color to your classified tag. Like particular classified tag. Next is the color. Now this color property is just to give the text the color. Now you must have observed that the color of this text over here of the text is white in color, right? And so is the color which we have typed earlier. Now this color is not for the background color. Please make sure you like understand that, because there might be few people who might make this mistake of making the color button like you will take the color button as the background color button. But it's not like that. It's actually the color property helps you to say like make your text look better. Sorry, not better, to give your text a proper color. So this is the background color and the color button. Now next is the border button. So I will first zoom on to my border for this page. Hold up, give me a minute. I hope you can see the border. Yep, you can. You must be. And then now you must have observed how the border looks like. And I'll just remove the border property, save the document, go back over here and run it. You see the difference between the border when the border property was there and when it is not. Yeah, so the difference is that this black and grayish kind of border came up. So now you must be thinking why. So if you must have if you must have observed carefully, you must have understood that the border over here was written border dot and colon and none. So by default, the HTML follows a format where each button will have a border, and the border is going to be of blackish gray color. And this is by default set. So if you don't put border none, then you won't really get then you won't really get the proper required format for the border. Then you will get the border which is not really required. Or if you want the border, then you can even type the color of the border or how you want the pattern of the border to be. I will of course cover that in a separate video when I'm doing a project. I will do a project for it soon enough. If you want, you can type in the comments box so that I can answer it. I just want to keep the video more easy for everyone to learn. But you can also go onto Google and search more about it. And then the next thing, which is the height. So now the height. Let me first just refresh this. Yeah, perfect. Now the height of the button is the vertical height, like this one, this whole part from here till here. This is the height. But if you don't write the px, which is the pixels, then you won't really get the desired value. In fact, it will just show an error. That is the height. And the second part is the width. Now the width is the bottom line, this one. and so is the top line, of course. So now the width is 105 px, and the same rule applies that if you don't type px, then you will just get an error. Okay, so these were few simple properties till now which we learned. Now a little bit more complicated properties, considerably more complicated properties, which is the border radius. Okay, so first let me show how our current border looks like. Let me zoom in more. Yep, our border looks something like a bit roundy, right? Now let me show what if we don't put this border radius. Delete, save, and let's go to this page. Refresh. You see now the border is not roundy. It's kind of like more like say sharp edge. You can say, yeah, more like sharp. Uh, Now, this border radius basically gives a little bit more curvature to your button. Normally buttons are kind of like curved up, right? Not just having some pointed ends. So this is where the border radius helps us. Now let me just retype it. Let me just retype it. Perfect. Now let me put I think 50 px for you to understand the difference. And let me refresh it. Look at the enormous difference. Now our subscribe button looks very like curved up. So this is the difference. This is the main difference. Now let me just close this and yep. Let me put back the 2px, 52 2px. Yep, because 52 is also a lot for this. Perfect. And now the next property is the cursor property. Sorry, not pointer. The cursor property. So now let me show this. Let me show the difference. Firstly, I'll remove this property from here. Save the document and run it. Now, even if I go on to the subscribe button, my cursor just is still the same. In fact, it didn't even change a little bit. But if you go to the real YouTube subscribe button, then you will understand that our style of the cursor changes, and that's for like many such buttons, right? So this cursor property helps us create the effect, the change of the cursor effect. Now there are multiple options. Like there's one pointer option. There are other options as well. You can go on to Google and check it out. Some more properties will be shown. Now let me just save this document. Go to this page, refresh, and now you see when I go over here, my cursor style just changes. Right, this is because of the cursor pointer property. Now, the padding property. Now, the padding property is not a property which you can really understand by just seeing it. You'll have to experiment a little bit, and then you will have to like kind of understand it by yourself as well. So this is since I put 100 px, you can like understand the drastic difference. But if I put like 1 px to maybe 10 px also, you won't really understand the difference. Let me show you. This is 10 px, while 1 px will be something around this size. So yeah, you didn't really understand the difference, right? Because the padding property doesn't really give a lot of difference unless the values change drastically. But of course they give a lot of like it also gives a difference to the user for the user, and it does create a better look towards your web page. So let me just explain what this padding property is. Now you see this text over here, the S and the E, and also the under part and the over part of the whole word has some distance from the boundary of the button. Am I correct? Yeah. So it has a distance from the boundary of the button. Now this distance is known as the padding of the button. uh, of course without the padding, the button will look something like this. Let me just run it. Yep, the button looks something like this. You understood the difference? No, right? Yeah, exactly. You won't understand the difference again because the padding property has so yeah, this is all about the couple of properties which we used over here. One to couple of them, around like 5 to 6 of them. So now let me show really show how this this dot subscribe button thing helps us. Firstly, let's exit this bracket, and I will quickly type up the text, and then I will again step by step explain what. Perfect. Button this class is equal to join button. Now you can see the join button in many of your membership programs for gyms, for Amazon, for Harry Potter products, for XYZ stuff. The list is long. So now this join button has this kind of CSS property. So first I'll save the document, go here, run it. Now you'll see that the join button looks something like this. The size is small, you can edit the size according to your need, but it's just for explanation purpose. Yeah, so the size is considerably small, but yeah. So now let me remove this part, this kind of bracket, and so will I remove this. And so will I remove this and even this. Save this. Now, by the way, I just wanted to tell you why I added up a new button, like a new text which is of the button. Now, the reason is basically if I don't add the button part, the computer will not the computer will not understand where does this CSS property have to be implemented. So that is why I typed the button part. Press the run button. Sorry. God. Yep. So now you see how the computer also again got confused. But not only it got confused, it averaged out the things. So now it was background color is red, background color is white. It just put white. The padding is 1px. There's no padding over here. So yeah, this is what happens if you don't properly target which part your buttons or any CSS property. So yeah, if you want, you can try what will happen if you don't really put the join the join and subscribe button and just do it by blank. Put nothing over there and just put the button part so that the computer understands where you're targeting the CSS property to. You'll understand the drastic difference of this and that. You can try that out, but I won't currently. I will just continue with the project. Yeah. So now I'm going to explain the join button stuff as well. Because a few of them are a little bit different than what we learned in the subscribe button. So the background color and the color are same, and they're going to be they are going to be a default thing for every single CSS button. Another one is the border color. Now, border color is something which is new for us. So this border color basically helps us to make the border color look a little bit different. Like the border color, for example, in this subscribe button, we didn't put any border, so there was no color itself. But like I had told that previously, that in the subscribe button part, that if you put the color text over there, then you can get the option of selecting which text you want. If you remember, you can just go back and check it out once. For this button, the border color is blue because there is a border to be colored, and I just run it so that you'll understand. Yeah, so the border color is blue, but if this border color wasn't there, it will just be white. Uh, the concept is the same as I just explained. The next thing is the border style. So now this border style is currently in solid, but you can change it to different as well. First, we'll run it without the border style, and I'll show you the difference so that you will understand it. So let me just zoom in. You see the unevenness in the border, like one part of the border is like dark blue and the other one is light blue, and we wouldn't like that, right? So that is why we put this, oh sorry, yeah, that is why we put this border style as solid. Now this property helps us keep the border color the same and uniform throughout the project, throughout the button. All right, so this makes sense, yeah. And another thing is the border width. So basically the thickness of the border. Let me just run it, save it, run it. All right, so now let me, yeah, it's zoomed in, perfect. So you see this, the width from this first like starting of the border till the end of the border is known as the border width. Now let me increase the border width to maybe 200 px for a more drastic change. Now you can not see the button with the same zoom effect. Like the border width is very large now. This is the effect of the border width. So I hope you understood and learned something new from this video, and I will upload more such videos about tech trends, about Linux, open source projects, and much more on this channel. So subscribe to my channel for more updates. Like to this video as this will motivate me to create more such kind of contents and present it to you. And don't forget to share this video with your friends, families,